Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited to share my journey into digital marketing today. I got lots of questions on how I got into the field, particularly because I didn't study digital marketing, and I've also moved to London, which is one of the most competitive cities in the world. I just want to share some tips with you that helped me along the way, especially because I switched careers from journalism into marketing. Whether you just finished uni or you already worked in another field and you want to switch into marketing, I hope they'll be helpful for you. But before we dive in, I want to give you a bit of context about me and my career background. Currently I work as a digital marketer, but I also still work as a freelance journalist. And lots of you probably know that journalism is a very competitive field. It's very hard to find a full-time position, and lots of people who initially study journalism then go into marketing or comms, and that's also what happened to me. I worked as a freelancer in London, but it was very hard to sustain myself. London is obviously a very expensive city, and journalism gigs are quite hard to get, and you also don't know when the next one will come around. So I started thinking about what other career paths I might enjoy, and marketing and social media was one of them. That's sort of why I switched into marketing from journalism. And I was particularly looking for digital marketing jobs because London is very digital focused, and I just thought that would be more what the future demands. That's why I applied for marketing in the digital field. Now I want to dive into tips that helped me to get a job in digital marketing. Because as I said before, I worked in journalism, I studied journalism, and then I thought, okay, I want to go into marketing, but how? I didn't have any work experience, I didn't have any academic experience. Also, I moved from Germany to London, obviously not a native speaker, which is another aspect that's quite hard when you're searching for a job, or that can be hard. One thing I want to point out here, that it's also an asset. So if you speak another language, that can be really helpful if you're hunting for jobs. I can't stress this enough, especially if you're someone like me who did not study marketing at university. I think it's really important to have something on paper. In my CV, I not only list out the courses I did, but I also point out what I learned from them and sort of what the courses touched on, which I think is really important. And I can really recommend HubSpot Academy. I enjoyed those courses, and I think it's quite like a respected education sort of provider in the marketing field. So I can really recommend those, and they are free. I think there are some that you can pay for, but I think most of them are free. I only did free ones, and I really enjoyed them. If you're not sure what you want to do yet and sort of which marketing path to go into, you can do a course and maybe see what you think you will enjoy most based on what you learned from the course. This is also like a really good way to find out which direction you want to go into. Another course I can recommend is Meta or Facebook. They also offer free courses which is more targeted towards social media marketing and social media management, but I found those really helpful as well. Another place where you can look for free courses is Google, and they also offer sort of marketing courses which are obviously more targeted towards Google Ads, marketing in combination with Google, but I found those courses really helpful as well. If you want to go into SEO, for example, those courses were really helpful for me. And I think it's best to sort of pick a few different providers like HubSpot Academy, Google, Meta, and just pick the courses that interest you most and put them on your CV. So I think this is something that very much stems from my background in journalism, where they always stress how important work examples are, and I kind of took that going from journalism into marketing, and I thought, okay, I don't have any work experience, but obviously I need to show to potential future employers that I can do the job. And the best way to do this, I think, is to sort of showcase something like a personal project or something from university that helps you to show that you can do the job. How I did this is during my master's degree, I worked on like a social media project which was around educating about online harassment of female journalists, and I sort of built a social media channel on Instagram where I posted lots of facts about this topic, provided resources and places to seek help and all those kind of things. I did kind of give it up after uni because I didn't have that much time, but that was like a really good way to show people that I can do social media management and that I sort of was able to build an audience. And for marketing, I luckily had lots of work samples in terms of writing that I could use to apply for content marketing jobs. It kind of depends what direction you want to go in, but I think building a portfolio with projects, can be personal projects, can be university projects, is really helpful to show potential employers that you can do the job. This is obviously nothing new, most of you probably know that, but I think this is one of the most important things, especially when you come out of uni, to get work experience, because that's really the only thing that employers care about. Can you do the job? Do you have experience in the field you're applying for? And I think internships are the most important step. If you do one thing, do an internship. And I think it's also really good for you to see if you actually want to go into marketing, because I think internships can be quite a reality check as well. And you maybe notice, okay, maybe SEO is not for me. For example, I want to go into content marketing. Maybe social media management is not thought it would be, so I might want to go into a different field. I think internships are so important, both for you and for your CV. And I know internships are not always compensated as they should be, especially in a city like London. So the way I did it was I did like a part-time internship, and then I also worked part-time. So I was able to, you know, pay my rent. It's something I honestly don't like about the industry at all. Journalism is very similar. You have to do internships, and most of the time you have to do them for free. But I would say there's always a way, if there's a will. A good way would be a remote internship as well, because if you're working remotely, it's a bit easier to fit another job in as well. An overview of sort of my background. I think I did 2 internships in marketing, 4 internships in journalism as well during my studies. So this is how many like work experiences I had to get. Marketing is also very competitive, and I think the more work experience you can prove, the better. The 4th tip I would give you is networking, especially if you live in a city like London, where there are so many people working in the field you might want to work in. A good way to find out more about the role, what the role entails, what people did to get that role. So I think networking is really important if you can. And if you don't live in a big city, I think there's lots of online opportunities as well, like online workshops and that sort of thing. All this is really awkward, but you know, it does help. If you apply for a job and you get rejected, is to keep in touch with that company as much as you can, to ask for feedback, and then also maybe connect with the person that interviewed you if you had a good vibe, and connect with them on LinkedIn, and just keep in touch. I think this is like a really good way to network as well. I know networking is awkward and, you know, it takes a bit of getting used to. I think it did for me, definitely. I think I'm more of an introvert, but really helped me to figure out if this is something I want to go into. Meeting people who work in marketing and sort of what their day looks like really helped me to decide if that's something that I could imagine for myself. So networking is really important. This obviously applies mostly for people who switch careers, and I think in my case, obviously switching from journalism to marketing, it was relatively easy to find skills I could highlight as transferable skills, such as writing, social media management as well. I did write for sort of like a media company, manage their social media accounts before going into marketing, and translating in my case. So I'm sure there's lots of skills that you can find on your current CV that are really important in marketing as well. Skills that are really important in marketing, for example, are project management, communication, writing, if you can edit podcasts really well, for example, like audio editing, any kind of editing, I would always highlight that. If there's a software that you can use really well, I would always point out softwares and like tech skills in general. People who switch careers can be really valuable because you have work experience from your previous job, but then you also did your research and you want to go into marketing, and you did some courses, you gained work experience. So it was really the best of both worlds. It's so important to not just, you know, disregard everything you learned before. That's something that really helped me when I applied for jobs. I think I was quite good in sort of selling my existing skills that I had from journalism, and I know I'm quite lucky in the sense that there is like a lot of overlap, but I think it's so important to sell yourself and sell your skills, and don't undervalue yourself just because you're new to marketing. So very important, highlight your transferable skills. Have to stay informed and never stop learning, which I think, especially in marketing, an industry that moves very fast, especially since the introduction of ChatGPT and AI tools, I think it's really, really important to keep on top of everything in terms of AI developments and, you know, tech developments in general. Companies these days are looking for people who can prompt ChatGPT, who are tech savvy, who can use AI tools. There's lots I use at work, for example, ChatGPT, Phrase, audio editing tools, image editing tools. So it's really, really important to stay ahead of the game. I personally don't think you need a marketing degree, just because things are changing so quickly that I don't think universities are able to keep up. If you learned about marketing, let's say 5 years ago, this might not be applicable right now because everything has changed since the introduction of ChatGPT. I don't have a degree and I work in marketing, so I hope this gives you some confidence even without a degree. And if you do have a degree, even better, it will be easier for you to prove your skills on paper. I'm just saying, if you don't have a degree, don't be scared and don't be discouraged. You can still find a job. Alright, this brings us to the end. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you can learn something from these tips. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. I'm happy to answer them. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you want to see more about me, my life in London, my life working in London. I also just wanted to say that marketing is a really fun industry. I really enjoy working in digital marketing, and don't be discouraged. I know it's hard. I know it can be really tough to get rejection letters, but don't be discouraged. I applied and applied and applied, and eventually I landed a job that I really enjoy. So if I can do it, you can do it too.